Namaskar. Namaskar, everybody. Welcome. Dot 5:30 p.m. here in India, and we have begun our broadcast for the day. Welcome to two of us talking Zindagi. It's an absolute pleasure to host today Ashu Khanna, and she and I will be in a conversation, an easy conversation about life and what we have discovered in life. So, are we all ready for it? So, super duper. स्वागत है आप सबका. Namaskar, my name is Ashish Vidyarthi, and good to see you all here. Wonderful, wonderful. And it's a cloudy day. But it being cloudy, so we got some light. So I guess wherever you are, in a whole lot of India, it's also raining. It didn't rain here in Mumbai today, but so as I see people gathering, I welcome you all, and I will not waste any more time, and I'll invite dear friend Ashu Khanna, and we're going to have some coffee together. I want you to have your cuppa with you as we share some things about life and look at what are those interesting nooks in our life which we missed looking at, because there are watershed moments in each of our lives, right? We remember those very important. But what about those small things which even we forget? So today we're going to just walk through life while sipping coffee. Ashu,
Good evening, everyone, and good evening, Ashish. Thank you for having me here.
Swagat.
And
So the
look
so the
forward
first,
to sharing.
let me get my cup also.
Cheers.
Cheers. Some postponement written on my mug. कल जाऊंगा
कल
जिम.
जाऊंगा जिम, मैंने देखा, पर आजकल जिम बंद ही है, तो एक्चुअली आप बच गए.
So, certain people that I meet and they look very different, behave very different. You're one of them, Ashu.
सुन रही हूँ.
Have you been accused of being very poised?
No.
Well, I've been accused of not being poised.
I've been accused of being a diva. I've been accused of being too much, like what you see is what you get. I don't know, I'd call it accused. I think I've been loved for it.
No, I was just trying to be humble. So I had this. I remember some years back, I and my very dear friend Jagan, we had gone down to meet somebody, and I promise Jagan and I, we are not supposed to name that person. We won't name, but it was so interesting that during the conversation, this gentleman said, "Have you realized that talent is a curse?"
ठीक है.
and he was referring to himself, and it is so.
So
and
I
Jagan
still
and I-
take the compliment and move forward. So I must say, actually, last year was it? Yeah, I ended up on a completely unexpected ramp walk on Manish Malhotra's show. And Shabana Azmi was sitting across, and she tells me, "You looked really graceful." And actually, coming from her, I was so thrilled. कभी मैंने
That's the word. That's the
yeah.
word. I couldn't. Yeah, I didn't articulate that. Yes, graceful. And so like another word that I have. My one of my struggles has been my inability to be proper. So a friend of mine still, she jokes that the first time I suppose I was the first human being that she had seen. She said that she saw me eating Chinese dish with my fingers. I'm sure you're wincing at this point, but
No,
yeah,
I love eating with my hands.
yeah,
I am very much an Indian on that.
and she said that I was the first person she had ever seen. And what is interesting is, and here is a, so I told her, so what are you? How are you supposed to eat noodles or whatever, even Chinese fried rice? She said with a fork, or you drill with a fork, or with chopsticks. I said, has it ever occurred to you that Chinese never eat it that way? Chinese actually have it in the bowl and they scoop it in.
Yeah.
You
They
know,
slurp
and
it in.
yeah, they slurp it and they're like, you know, and you've been in that part of the world, haven't you?
I have. I've seen them. What I call it slurp and swallow. It just goes tuck 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 tuck. So
Yeah, and there's no chewing either, right? And yet there are notions. So it's interesting, Ashu, how there are notions about how it should be done.
so आपको एक कहानी बताती हूँ यहाँ से. I was relatively new to Hong Kong. I had, although I'd by then learned to eat with chopsticks. We were at a very, very formal dinner, and next to me was sitting somebody who I was sitting with for the first time. And badi dexterity ke saath, I pick up this asparagus with the chopstick, and it flew. It just flew backwards. So very sweetly, this gentleman next to me says, "They are slippery indeed." So, and that was it. It was a very pretty moment for me. But I must say, I think I just recovered, but I still remember the embarrassment of that asparagus flying out of my chopsticks.
Flying asparagus.
So, अब अगली बार आप मुझे देखोगे तो आपको पता है कि you'll think of the flying asparagus.
Flying asparagus. You've seen it all.
I've seen it all.
And it's also, it is said again and again, is that there was this many, I mean, like hundreds of, at Queen Victoria's court, there was an Indian who was visiting whom she really respected. And it is said that there is this thing that, I don't even know if it's a true story, but I believe there was something like a finger bowl, though I suspect, why would there be finger bowl on a European table? Finger bowl is so Indian, But the story went that there was finger bowl, and, this gentleman thought it was soup. And before the courtiers could laugh, Queen Victoria, it seems, just touched that thing to her lips so that they won't laugh. So obviously, I don't even know whether that is true or not, but does out of place things embarrass us so much that we do not want to be out of place where we are somewhere?
But if there's one thing I've learned is that there's always be some point in your life, and that will happen forever. You'll always feel out of place somewhere, somehow, sometime.
Or do something which is out of place.
That you
hello.
can't. Yeah, I don't think you can ever avoid that.
Sure.
So that's pretty much a part of life. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, like for me, as I said that, wanting to do many things, and somehow, I'll just share this with you. So my question here was that, we all come from a background, for example, the kind of English that you speak, Ashu, is something which will tell me something about probably the first school that you went to, and the way you articulate or whatever. And along with the language also comes with a certain way that you hold yourself, or even how you handle the flying asparagus. All right. Okay. So, by the way, I've gotten about you now. Okay. So, have you said that? Yeah. So just imagine that even the ability for us to handle embarrassment, is there something to do with if you can be blasé about it, or do you want to be say slightly apologetic about it, or outright have a thing, oh, I'm so stupid, and have a laugh at it? Do you think our background makes a difference in that?
So, am I blasé about it?
No, I'm just saying that
I'm just
as such
wondering.
that
No, I'm just thinking, हर एक को अगर देखें.
Sure.
So, I think it's ages and stages of life. How I would have reacted to the same thing 20 years ago to how I react to it today is very, very different. At one point, I may have wanted to, cringe about it, judge myself about it, and totally said, "Oof, what did I do?
How could I? How could I? Yeah.
What did I do? How could I? How will I ever, face this person?" Then at some point, you cross over and you say, "ठीक है यार, हो गया. It's part of life. I made a faux pas, and I doubt I'll ever stop making faux pas."
Exactly.
So embrace my human, have a good laugh at myself, and carry on.
And you know what you just spoke about is something which I kind of keep wondering. Faux pas have been a part of my life. I don't know about you. Talking of it. I mean, thank you for bringing it up. So we obviously know how beautifully we scripted it, huh? Ashu, you did it so well. You did it so well. Wow. Any actor would be embarrassed. Oh, wow. You did it so well.
You couldn't have willed it more strongly. I don't like you for this for a moment.
And this is...
I want to see this.
You want to see this? Nobody's seeing it. Don't worry. Just you and me having a chat on this. All right. So here is the thing. Here is what. Have you ever considered that fear of doing something wrong could stop people from going into any territory which they are uncomfortable with?
Oh, absolutely. I'll go to my childhood there. I am no different from, I think, many other human beings. Sensitive, gentle, emotional, timid, shy. सब कुछ थी मैं. You can't imagine that now. And chulbuli, mischievous, chatty. I would sing on the school bus. I could talk 19 to a dozen at home. But there was a part of me which you used to get hurt very easily. बड़ी जल्दी हर चीज चुपती थी. And somewhere along the line, those little things became, just created a barrier around me. I got barriered. I stopped taking risks. I stopped being myself. That live and let live person just little by little, you would come out in moments, not all the time. And then that live and let live person, from being shy, from being barriered, started emerging into a person who was aggressive. So there was a completely
reaction, an opposite reaction.
First it was nobody wants to listen to me. Then it went to how dare they not listen to
How
me?
do they not? Correct.
So jitna zor ka chilla sakte ho chillao. And then I think I got pretty much tired of myself. And I decided I have to find a way to get past this either silent or aggressive, or sometimes very happy and not knowing how to stay with that. That's when my own journey of search started. So what I
It's so
discovered,
interesting.
yeah. So when you tell me, does it happen? Absolutely.
So I didn't intend to interrupt this train of thought, but I had one question. If you want, I'll just, you know,
All yours.
yeah. So here is a question. You know, when you and you brought it forth, is life going to be an either or choice for any one of us? Because I have noticed that each time I think that this is the right thing means something else is wrong. At some point, I think enough of this right, yaar, puri dunya udhar hai. Then I do that in response. Then it's, "Arey baap re, ye too much ho gaya." As you were saying that from the timid to बहुत हो गया, आप timid नहीं होंगे. Don't you think that that is something that each one of us also carries into our adulthood?
When you're saying either or, matlab?
चुप रहना अच्छा है यार, हटाओ क्यों चुप रहे हैं यार.
Acha, so I don't think there's an either or. I would say situational है. So am I sometimes quiet if I think it's appropriate? Sure. Do I still lose it sometimes? Yes.
Sure, of course.
And I think the difference is I'm okay with whatever is now. The judgment or the expectation or that what's right, what's wrong, wo chala gaya hai.
Judgment. And I think somewhere in our childhood, from that chirpy child who used to sing in the bus and speak a lot at home, felt slightly timid in front of people, because again there was some fear of, because I have felt that. I've very early, and we never called it judgment, right? We just kept quiet, or we did something because we are. Judgment is a hindsight, adult way of looking at it. Yeah.
जब ज़्यादा analysis शुरू हो जाता है ज़िंदगी में.
है ना, हाँ.
So I had a coach who used to say, over analysis causes paralysis.
हाँ. कोई गलत गलती तो नहीं कर रहा. Exactly. So
you're stuck.
Yeah. So I remember, being an only child, I remember the first thing. Of course, it was like my parents were very old. That's something which I remember later. My parents are very old. And then the other thing was that I had no siblings to stand up for me. And a whole lot of my decisions since in life have been basis that I'm alone. All right, I'll have no one to stand up for me. And it's funny. I'm 54, going on to 55, Ashu, and that young child, and there was an interesting thing. There was a period that there used to be these hero cycles and that BSA cycle, okay? And a friend of mine and I, we got cycles simultaneously, or around just that same time, staying in Lakshmi Nagar. And I got a BSA and he got a hero. And some point, something, I would have said something. I really would have said something. And, and we had a fight. And his sister, I'm very clear, very rightfully said what she said to me. But when I got back home, I wept. And I said that if only I had a sister, an older sister, she would be there to stand up for me. So at that point, it was not right or wrong. It was just that, what if I was also right? And if somebody is saying something which is wrong to me, I do not have anyone anyone who can stand up for me. And since then in my life, I have continuously looked for the elder sibling, and I've found them. So in my life, I've such, जिसको कहते हैं प्रगाढ़ दोस्तियां हैं, प्रगाढ़ relationships, deep entrenched familial relationships. जिसमें now I have sisters, now I have elder brothers, none of them biological, but I have sensed, and this is a very it's an admission that I have all that I source in my that want to have somebody with me.
And you fulfilled it. Or you
Yeah,
keep
and
fulfilling it.
yeah, you keep fulfilling it. So do you
आपने
do
इतने
you
प्यार से कहा, so I was thinking मैं भी अपना हाथ आगे बढ़ा देती हूँ as a younger sister.
got it. So मैंने कहा कि do you also experience, thank you so much, appreciate that, thank you. So I'm saying that do you experience certain childhood memories, certain childhood wants playing up even through your youth, even though that childhood may have gone?
Okay. There's a kid in me at all times, even now.
Yeah.
I enjoy that kid. I nurture that kid. I connect with my kids because of that kid. So there's a kid in me at all times.
I sometimes tell my son, my son is in Berkeley, there's this UC Berkeley dad t-shirt which I recently brought out. I keep telling him I still don't know how to be a dad. I just I'm just like, I talk to him, I don't know. I mean, like, do you know what is the right way to be a parent? I mean, you got two, I got one, but like,
I think they teach me. Some of it happens by accident, some by the others' experience, some by them telling you. So now my kids are old enough to tell me when I'm not doing something, when I'm not, or rather when I'm being too much of a parent. So now I think it's more an adult to adult interaction.
so during your travels, and you traveled a bit, right? Where all have you traveled in life?
So I've lived in Hong Kong and Singapore, but travel-wise, fairly pretty much extensively across the globe. काफी जगह देखी है. More so after I got married, I think I have had the opportunity to enjoy the world quite a bit. I've enjoyed, and some of the most favorite places have been New Zealand. And I'm trying to think. I've enjoyed Egypt for what I saw of the architecture there. Europe is always fun to walk around, have a cup of coffee just along the road,
Just
just
sitting
sit in one
outside.
of those cafes, yeah.
Cafes overlooking.
And somehow Europe has canals everywhere.
Yes. So I'll one admission. Okay, so first time we had gone to Paris, Paris.
सुन लिया.
मैं बोल दो यार, अच्छा आप लोग पेरिस कहते हैं, हम लोग पागी कहते हैं. Anyway, तो पहली बार गया and very excited, and it was a rainy evening. We kind of reached there, and I couldn't spend too much time in the hotel. I dragged Pilu and Arth, this tiny baby, took them out. Let's go out. और वहाँ पे जाके ना, we are walking, and there I see a person wearing a beret, an artist, a jacket, and smoking a cigarette, and all his paintings just kept there wrapped in a plastic this thing, and just standing there and smoking, and wow, Parisian artist selling his stuff. So I just go to him, and it's an actor, okay, an artist, and I'm standing in front of an artist, and it's a rainy day, obviously no sale for him. So I see him, and I say that, I want to tell Pilu, I said, I think we want to buy this here. Like an artist, says he's a little later in the evening, he'll go back home, whatever money that is. So I try to buy one, and he tells me a price which is मतलब थोड़ा ठीक ठाक ऊंचा ही था. So I looked at Pilu, and then Pilu said, really? I said, yeah, it's an artist. So I bought that. So I bought two. And for some reason, he gave me the third one free, which really touched me. Like,
That's really sweet.
all right, very sweet. So I kind of put it in, and we are walking, and I'm feeling so happy that as an artist, I've supported another artist, and we're walking, and then we are walking a little ahead. I see another artist smoking or some stuff like that, and I see a very similar painting, very similar drawing there. So I immediately look at the next crossing, and I cross with Pilu, and on the other side I walk, I see another artist smoking, doing that same thing. I didn't realize I had bought prints.
Oh,
I didn't want to tell Pilu. Now, it's an image that you have, and Paris was filled with images of,
yeah.
that
These
sort.
roadside artists.
Yeah, and it's amazing. So here is my question. So more than places, what memories do you have of people through your life? Can you share some things which are?
Okay, people have always fascinated me. I love observing people at an airport. I can never get bored. I can really just entertain myself just looking at life. One of the most touching, miraculous experiences of my life has been meeting my mentor coach Lynn Marks in Henley on Thames, small town of London. And I had gone there while I was searching for what to do with my life. When I was in this whole phase of I want to find that child again, I want to find that contentment and all of that. And beautiful human being. We do this, I'm in this course with her, and suddenly in the course, she made a statement asking me if I was coachable. I had चिड़िया का नाम नहीं सुना था, so I just brushed it aside. But something within me kept troubling me. There was an odd restlessness which made me want to understand. So I actually, in the evening after the class, went around walking that little town searching for her. And at a crossroads, I found her. I stopped her and asked her, if you were to coach me, what would you say? That conversation has been the most life-changing moments of mine. So she turned around and just asked me, whose acceptance are you waiting for? At that point, it was like the world had stopped for me.
Whose acceptance are you waiting for?
So it was such a phenomenal conversation which turned my life completely. But amongst people, I wouldn't be doing justice if I don't say I miss my parents. I don't have either any now. I really, they've really shaped me in many ways. So yeah, there are people, my sister, my husband, my children, and some dear friends. There are just so many who are still a part of my life or have crossed my path and have had the most profound experience, a profound impact on my life, whether it's colleagues or clients, lots.
So I'll share something, a funny incident. So I was shooting for my very first Tamil film. That film never got made. Okay, it was stalled. Probably it was the second film. So the first film was Dil with Vikram, and the second film we were shooting in a place called Mahanantawadi, and that film got stalled. They didn't have money to shoot, and overnight we had to vacate the. Interesting things happen when you have to somehow leave the hotel because we don't even know if they are paying them for that. So I made sure I stood there. The production manager came and cleared my room bills and the bills of my associates, and we all left. And I remember, since I was 3 days before, my tickets were for 3 days later, I said that I'll just drive down to my village, which was in Talasheri, Kannur. So we're driving there, and a lot of thoughts coming into my head, Ashu. The scare that what's going to happen, this film, if it doesn't get made, what's going to happen to my career? All right, those fears are there. Okay, it's gone. Okay, now I've done that. Arth was just born, so it's this 19 years backstory. And I remember I was on a horse in one of the shots, and a child started crying, and I started looking at him. I was missing. Arth was in Kolkata with Pilu. They just delivered. I had just come down for that shoot. And as I was driving back, all those thoughts kept coming back that, okay, this is an important film, not happening. What do we do? And returning, I said that I'll just drop by at my village. And I called up. So I'm in a small village called Dharmadam, Post Palat. Now it's a large, it's a very, very beautiful town. And I had called home, and I had called my dear friend Abhilash, and my relatives and friends were waiting for me at Chalel house. That is our house there. And I was driving there. A funny thought struck me that years back in the 1930s, my father stepped out of the village. He was one of the first from that village to travel north to study Hindi and then study Sanskrit at Kashi Vidyapith. And at that moment, with all my worries that what will happen to this film, I hope it's made. Oh, how much I want to go to Kolkata and be next to Pilu and Mowgli, my son.
Yeah.
And the thought that came to me as I was just entering my village, that I said that maybe in 1930s, at that time, maybe 60 years back, my father would have walked out of these lanes and stepped out towards this railway station somewhere in Talasheri and taken a train out. What if he had not stepped out of that village at that point? And all the travels since then, for me, I've been really looking at the quirk of fate that each one of us is. I look at myself as a complete quirk of fate. And therefore, in a very funny way, Ashu, each intersection of my life is like, wow.
I totally get that. Because just recently I was thinking about the same thing, about this whole thing of serendipity, how we just look at it as either sometimes randomness or serendipity. And I called up my bua and I asked her, I said, I'd love to hear about. So my father used to be a refugee from Pakistan. They came in 1947 to India. And it's really the same thing that if he had not come to India in 1947, if he had not come to Delhi, if my mother hadn't moved to Delhi, I wouldn't be here today. So there are just so many events in history which just stitch our life together miraculously.
And those miracles are happening right now. So for me, I mean, the point that I got at that point, Ashu, and I want to listen to you on this. The miracles haven't stopped, my friend. Now that could be a watershed miracle that I may remember, but anything. Okay, so there is, dear friends, there is an echo in your voice, Ashu. So you are hearing it, except I'm not hearing it. And apologies, we cannot deal with it. We've been trying to. So please bear with it. We've been trying to deal with this echo, but we haven't quite managed. So if you, is it okay if Ashu speaks softly? You can still hear her. The voice could have been better. We don't know what to do about it. So for me, even this, for example, even this not so perfect moment. This is not so perfect moment. Your voice is echoing. I wouldn't have wanted your voice to echo. But yes, it is echoing, and yet it is a moment in time which has happened. And
So
can we accept it? Can we?
it reminds me of this movie Sholay. Dharminder standing behind that Shivji and talking like that with that echo.
बच्चा देखो.
So ठीक है, it happens. So I guess मेरी personality इतनी बुलंद है कि 2 बार आवाज जानी पड़ती है. That's really it. Like nothing you can do.
How important? How important is laughter for you?
It's a part of me.
How does it help you? If it does.
How does it help me? My God, it's lightness.
Yeah. And we can gift it to ourselves.
That's the beauty of it. And if I can laugh at myself, I mean, that's the best thing, gift I can give to myself, because then life is a breeze.
I'll share something interesting, okay? Yeah, if we can gift ourselves. So this morning, I have a dear friend Parul Kanse, and I was chatting with her, and I said that, hey, Prul, I call her Prul. I said, Prul, you must, come and. So, friends, you're Ashish, ठीक है ना आशीष क्या कर रहा है? मैं come and attend one of these things. I said, अरे यार serious बात करता है बहुत. Like, okay. Look, I'm also doing something funny, because in real life I have a funny bone which protrudes out too often, and then people get upset. Oh yeah, why are you pulling my leg so much? But I love to. So in this entire period, another thing which I discovered is that one end are these whatever conversations that we are, and also to invite you and invite all of us. On 26th of this month, I'm doing a jocular piece on exactly this, Ashu. It's called Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar. I mean, we are all dealing with a lot of upsets in this period. Oh yes, we are all amazingly upset with what life has dished out to us since March. And so I'm very clear that if we keep recounting, and if we keep waiting for this thing to change before we are happy, then it's like it's going to be a long wait. So I'm doing something, it's called Dil Pe Mat Le Yaar, फिर मुस्कुराएगा इंडिया, शुरुआत होगी आपसे. And we are doing this on Book My Show on the 26th. So it's a thing which is going to be launched in a couple of days. But for me, the ability to laugh, as you said very beautifully, laugh at myself, laugh at ourselves, it gives me the ability to keep it light for me. So I don't become very serious about what I'm dealing with. हटा ना यार तू आशीष बहुत दर्द हो रहा है क्या तेरे को feeling very bad about it.
So in school or in college also, there used to be a general, what do you call it? Can you a description? If anyone became too soppy on serious, immediately someone would pipe up and say, "Stop being Meena Kumari." So that was the common association.
Martyr मत बनाओ अपने को. We have this, yeah, and whatever name that you want to associate with it, with the film character or whatever.
Yeah, it was
That
just
feeling,
a victimization.
my victim. And do you think that is something which we are more ready to gift ourselves, my victim,
Oh,
typically in life?
दुनिया उस पे जीती है, I think. I
है ना?
think I think we love to suck up on the world on that I'm helpless whole facade of I'm helpless.
And then we also probably look for people who understand. I get what you're going through. I understand how the world. I agree with you how bad the world has been to you. And then we say, I'm so glad that I have someone who understands my pain, which essentially says, तेरे को भी लगता है ना कि मैं victim हूँ, victim,
तो वो law of attraction हो गया ना.
है ना?
Totally.
And I kind of, for me, through my life, one thing I've done is that anyway, life is giving some very interesting challenges in front of all of us. How about, why would I want to sabotage myself? And I have done that so often by further disempowering myself by having conversations around me where people have felt more sad for me. And I have gone through it when, I've said, तेरे को पता है क्यों हो रहा है? And then I have found some very, very lovely friends who said, I understand what you're going through. और उसके बाद, after that thing, I have walked out of the meeting कि ये भी समझ रहा है कि मेरे साथ बहुत बुरा हो रहा है. But I have still felt as the poor victim. And most of the time, I've also realized that जब लोग आपको बहुत ज़्यादा, if you keep sharing with people, this also happened. So they act very, this thing with you, I understand. And the moment you leave, they say, and then you say, yeah, next कब मिलूंगा? Yeah, don't worry, huh? Just WhatsApp me whenever you need to. Because, it's, we kind of want to
It's a
give
heaviness.
Yeah, and one of the ways, and I keep sharing that with my friends, and is that how will it be if we can actually take away people from our life who listen to our complaints?
Is it take away or just stop getting them in?
Yeah. I mean, like with Pilu, we were very clear. If I kind of give a funny thing, so what years back, Ma Baba had both passed away, and Baba, Baba's birthday, Pilu was doing something. I stood next to her and I said, Pilu, I'm missing Baba. Pilu said, huh, okay. And then she moved on. मतलब कुछ ज़्यादा नहीं किया, I understand. Mowgli, I think was 5 years old or something, he's reading a book. Lying down like this, reading a book. So, my child will understand, right? So I sit next to him and I said, Mogu, I'm missing Tux. He looks up, goes back to his book. I didn't exactly get the response I wanted. So the actor persists. Mogu, I'm missing Tux. He looks up and tells me, Baba, you will meet him when you grow old.
This is truth from a kid's mouth.
Oh my God. It was one on my solar plexus, like,
Sorry, I could not get into that emotion. I think it was just too.
it was exactly that way, Ashu, exactly how I felt. It was like one straight one. When you die, you will meet him. Stop cribbing, don't disturb. And seriously, I mean, that's what I love about people like this. If, and I have been encouraging through my life. And what I mean is that through my life, I empower myself by encouraging an ecosystem which doesn't tolerate me feeling sad for myself. I want to listen to your thoughts on that.
So I'm okay with that. Okay, I'm okay with feeling sad. वो भी एक emotion ही है ना.
Okay?
Sad, angry, happy, all our emotions, grief,
All right.
everything, and it's okay. And I may some like I have a friend, very dear friend from school days, and sometimes I'll just call her and just say, Shanu, I want to just bitch today.
Got
I
it?
need to download. Uh, or she'll call and do the same. And it's that totally accepted moment or conversation between us saying, I want to vent. I'm not
I want
asking
to
for a
vent my feelings.
solution. I
Got
just
it.
want to vent. And uska koi mein, I'm not looking for a solution. I'm not looking for anything. I'm just looking for a space to empty that vessel which is feeling full in that moment.
Sure. Cathartic moment.
Yeah, it's okay.
It's okay, yeah. Yeah, so yeah, I admit, yeah, there is. And as a coach, Ashu, as you listen to people, you allow them to empty it, right? I've experienced that with you when we chat, when you ask me those questions.
I call it's a space. Uh, Many have offered it to me. I offer it to others. I think it's just the world goes around.
Sure.
So
And
I'll
that's
tell
a
you,
very, yeah.
sorry, finish.
Yeah, it's a for me, being at a conversation like this, one of the reasons that I even want to, yes. So can we try one thing? Do you have another phone on close by, Ashu, or something, because of the echo or something? Can you reduce some volume somewhere? I'm very sorry, Arindam. We are having this issue with the echo. It's been going on for a while. Do you want to turn down your volume for a bit? Okay, one sec. Are you also listening to you're getting the sound here, right? Is it also playing out from your laptop? Can you hear from your laptop also?
You
Or it's
know,
only on here?
okay, when we did a test check, it all seemed like there was a lot going on, but I think I've been so involved in the
Okay.
conversation, I
So
really
let's
don't
go
know.
on. Let's go on. Let's go on. Okay. Yeah.
I have no
We're trying to
idea
do.
anymore, and I'll have to
Sure.
start looking for
No, no.
kahan se.
Don't worry. Don't worry. We'll just be with this. So so yeah, to empty out. So as I do a conversation like this, Ashu, and you asked me the other day, why do I do it? Remember that question of yours? And I said that I'll probably chat about this. You still want to know? You still want to ask?
I leave you to choose.
So for me, it is finding my way. Each conversation for me, not just this conversation, any conversation for me is not so much to know, but more to discover something about me. And therefore, I have the privilege of listening to everything as a thing which is afresh. So it allows me to have a completely different perspective from what I have been living with.
I feel privileged.
How important is a counterpoint for you? Counter thought, a thought very different from you.
I invite them into my life all the time, I think.
And why would you
I,
do that?
I enjoy expanding my perspective, enjoy learning, I enjoy discovering new things. There is just so much that to learn. It's fun.
So here is something very interesting,
And
so
one
there is
sec,
this.
sorry, I'm
Yeah.
interrupting here. And I think
Sorry,
more
sorry,
than
please.
anything, no, no, more than anything, it challenges me. I enjoy that part because it challenges me to grow. It challenges me to get curious. It challenges me on many levels. Sorry, back to you.
Yeah, this is so beautiful because like some people are asking this question as to what, and my dear friend Sharmila Banerjee is there, and she's talking about how conversation leads to discovery, and somebody's asking what's the point of this discussion, and it's so interesting that when I get these different kinds of views and questions, consider for a point that there is no point, and for us to discover much more than what we think that we want to look for. And for me, I did a TEDx talk on the hocus pocus of focus. That if I'm focused and I only want to do this, it don't disturb me. Listen, I'm just focused on this. Imagine how much of life I would have missed, because I am a result of the challenges that life gave me, and I have turned out, scarred and beautiful and varied because of the different things other than what I thought was the only way. And it has allowed me to be on a continual walk through discovery rather than proving myself right. And each time, and I have been, and I am at times wanting to make myself right, and I discover that that's such a fruitless thing. On the other hand, if I am ready to, what else do I see today which adds to that dimension, further dimensions of me? Because life for me, Ashu, I have discovered are dimensions. And each day as a professional working, as a professional speaker in this whole new, realm, we are continually doing programs online, and it's so interesting that we have 2 programs happening tomorrow. We did 2 yesterday. Each day, each interaction leaves that moment with me, and so at the next place, something more goes there, and from that, something else comes up.
So it's what I call each conversation leads into the next act of life.
Leads to the next atom of life. Did you say that?
Act.
Next act of life. Beautiful.
It's
We
the
are not
next.
without.
We're never without.
We are not without. Each experience of ours is, yes. Wow. Proving oneself right is a game people who are running a straight line. And it's beautiful. Arindam Gupta says, they have a goal and that's all that they will achieve. And if we can put everything on ourselves, Arindam, that's something which I like to do. I kind of say that if I can put that on myself and say that, what if I have multiple things to achieve in life? And some of them I'm yet to discover what I want to achieve.
So what would you say is your goal today?
So an interesting one, it was a question which was asked by a colleague of mine, Divya Sane, at one of the calls day before yesterday. In fact, we shot something on that. She asked me, is life like the Mario game in which you're, jumping those
Mm.
things each day, or is it a longer thing? And what I got in that conversation is a weird question. Never had a question like that. What I got is that what the Mario game, what it told me at that point, at that question, when I started thinking about it, is that whatever be your long term goal, whatever be your long term destination and aspirations, you can be done in today. So the today is so very important because you may lose and give up. And that entire large thing that you were wanting for yourself, you will you will never ever achieve because of something which in hindsight you will say, oh, it's such a small thing, but you gave up. And for me, I think therefore, each day is in service of that amazing that inspires me, Ashu. And so therefore, I don't say that I want to get this out of today, but I love to get wet by each day. I love to be touched by each experience. And each meeting that we have, we have a special thing that we mention, in our thing. What opened up for me today in that meeting? It could be a meeting which we are having with a client, and we are talking of a product, we are talking of an offering, we are curating a talk or a workshop. But what opened up for me, even just outside of the fringes of that is something which excites me, and I encourage those kind of things, and discover gold in if people can discover something more out of that present moment rather than just saying I went for a meeting and that deal happened or didn't happen. What about you?
तो अभी क्या खुल जा सिम सिम अभी क्या खुला.
I'm experiencing a dive. I'm experiencing dealing with the fact that you're echoing, and still some people saying that it's great. It can still go on. I'm also experiencing that I'm having a very rich time. That's what I'm experiencing.
Thank you. So I am, for me, this has been such a fascinating experience. I used to always be very camera shy. So last year, I actually went and did a theater course to get past and learn to be spontaneous on camera. Because otherwise, I don't have issues being spontaneous in life, but that camera comes in front of me and that spontaneity is gone. And somehow today, it's not for a moment have I experienced any moment of thinking मेरे सामने मैं camera से बात कर रही हूँ. So when you were asking about the echoing, no. So I would say thank you for just holding the space so beautifully for me that I wasn't feeling disturbed even for a moment. I've been able to be myself completely, laugh with you, think of, reminisce on all old Hindi movies and what have not, and just have a good conversation.
Ashu, absolute pleasure. It's been an hour, and it's just passed, and absolute pleasure having you sipping. What were you sipping? Coffee, tea?
Tea.
Tea. I was having coffee. So, thank you for joining me for this Cuppa, and really appreciate your time. And thank you.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you so much. It's been a delightful conversation. And I do apologize to all the audience who've got disturbed with the echo. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. We could do nothing about it. We tried, but we really failed, and we just decided to run with it.
Welcome to real life.
Yeah.
We will do well with what we have.
Embrace the imperfections and make them perfect in the moment.
Wow. Thank you, each one of you who have been around and been with us. Really appreciate you all being there, each one on different platforms. See you around next Saturday for another very, very interesting conversation. I'll keep you posted on that. Thank you, Ashu, once again. Alshukran Bandhu, Alshukran Zindagi. Have an extraordinary time in life. Appreciate it.
Namaskar to everybody.
Namaskar. Wow. Thank you all who have been here with us. Apologies for the sound and whatever that you may have heard. I hope that this has been a different kind of a conversation. And we're going to be here each Saturday engaging in conversations like this. Next Saturday, we're going to meet my dear friend Sanjay Muthal. Completely different set of conversations. We are going to talk about nooks of life, which sometimes don't show up. So join us next Saturday for an interesting one. And Sunday, not this Sunday, next Sunday, some interesting thing is coming up. I will share with you. Whereas tomorrow, I'm going to speak with two youth organizations. One of them is a Wilson College that happens at 11. I'll be live in some places. It'll be a conversation for students, how they can look forward to this period and how they can impact their life. And the evening, it's going to be on how you can make yourself a sustainable leader and having a sustainable life. So all the announcements will be there on my Facebook page as well as my LinkedIn profile. Thank you so very much. You have an extraordinary evening and a life ahead. Really in deep appreciation of you being here. Thank you so much. Thank you.